very repressive childhood, religious culture, Patty Baer found her own way out and up, and now her new memoir tells a story of growing up in the so-called One True Church, finding her way to personal freedom. The book is From Plain to Plain, My Mennonite Childhood, a National Scandal, and an Unconventional Soar to Freedom. Welcome to Lifestyles, Patty Baer.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about your book first. Has it rolled out now? Is it available?
It is rolling out in about a week. It's available for pre-order now, and it publishes on February 23rd.
Well, I look forward to reading that. Available on all platforms like Amazon, etc.?
That's correct. Anywhere you can find it online.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about your fascinating life. So you grew up in this very repressive culture where women are submissive. What was your childhood like?
So the first 8 years, we grew up on a rather bucolic farm. I had 5 brothers and sisters. We worked very hard, but it was part of the positive aspect of that culture. A lot of rhythm, routines, tied to the land and to the earth. And so that lasted until I was about 8 years old.
And then what happened? What changed everything?
My father got excommunicated and shunned, and he went kind of berserk. And so he took his cause to the newspapers, to the neighbors, to the public, really to anyone who would listen. And he eventually took it to the courts. His case made its way to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and as a part of all of that, it found its way into the national news for quite a number of years, almost a decade. It was in the New York Times, the Washington Post, People magazine. It was on Canadian newspapers and television. And but behind the story, there was also hidden violence that we were experiencing. And so that really changed everything, and we ended up having to flee the farm that we lived on.
And where were you, Patty?
We were in central Pennsylvania, in the heart of the Plain people. So I don't know if people know this or not, but the Plain people are the Amish and Old Order Mennonites, and they're actually many places in the United States and Canada, but it's a strong part of the culture of central Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Cumberland County.
Well, you noted that the love of the land and the connection to the land was a positive. What else did you bring out of that escape that allowed you to go to the Air Force Academy, to become a pilot, all the dynamic things that you have done out of this dramatic childhood?
I think the positive that came out of it, we worked really hard as children, which wasn't necessarily positive for children, I don't think, to work that hard. But that hard work and the stamina that developed as a result of navigating this trauma certainly served me well in life, because I entered the Air Force Academy in one of the early classes that after women had first been admitted. And then, of course, being in as an airline pilot, I was one of a small percentage of women, and so it helped to navigate those cultures. It gave me the strength and the character to do that.
Was it cathartic for you to write this memoir and then let it free out into the public?
Yes, it was cathartic. It was something that I had always wanted to do. I think it's important to. Part of it was an accountability project that I wanted to do in writing the book, and the other part was I wanted to show that sometimes a trauma can be a liberating path, because without what had happened, I would have grown up, I would have had the same life that my mother had, and but it sort of catapulted me out of that world. And so yeah, it was cathartic. I think it's important to put the truth on record, and because there was a very distorted story that was told in the media about by my father, and so it was important to set that record straight.
Well, Patty Baer, I cannot wait to read your book, coming out soon, From Plain, P-L-A-I-N, to Plain, P-L-A-N-E. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Lifestyles will continue right after this. Stay with us.